guys, hopefully I can keep this pretty short. I'm going to try my best to not get worked up here. I'm going to try my best to look at this from a level-headed perspective, because I have had a lot of people coming at me with the last video that I ended up privatizing when I got kind of worked up, and some of the stuff that was coming at me had to do with the Taylor Swift situation, which I am not going to be addressing anymore because Demi Lovato is getting fat-shamed again, and I can't deal with that, but that's not why you all are here. So, if you don't know what the story was about this bean statue, I still can't say that for straight face, I'm really sorry, but, so basically there was this bean sculpture in Chicago that was apparently a iconic work of art and tourist attraction. I had never heard of it until the other day. That got vandalized, and the same people who did that apparently also vandalized this wall. It was a cancer survivors garden or some sort of memorial. I don't know exactly what it was, but the point is that the same people, I don't know who ended up they got detained, but then I think they dropped charges. I don't know. It's not really, I'm just saying this because I personally I've dealt with cancer before. I'm sorry, my voice is completely gone, but I know what cancer's like. I've seen people go through it, and yeah. So going into this, again, I basically the entire point of the last video was that you're getting upset over a bean, and you're not getting upset over human rights crisis and children getting taken away from their parents and all that shit going on at the border. Now, that's not really going to be the point of this video, although I still stand by saying I think there are other things you should be upset about, regardless if you're Democrat or Republican. Even if you're not upset about the border crisis, which is a problem in its own right, you're not upset about, I don't know, people getting shot or killed or drugs or rapists, like, you're not upset about any of that, and yet you're upset, you're going to take your anger out on this. And literally nothing I said was defending, well, we'll get to it. When I say nothing I said was defending the vandals, I was defending their privacy, and we'll get into that in a bit. I wasn't saying, yo, just go ahead and put graffiti on bean statues and I'm sorry. I'm not necessarily endorsing it, but what I am saying, it's not funny. It really isn't funny, but I can't. So anyway, basically what ended up happening was I ended up reading a ton of replies on this thread, both the cancer memorial and the bean. I read a lot of comments on these posts, and these people are incredibly angry, and I think it's a little bit out of proportion. I think you're disproportionately angry. I'm not saying you shouldn't be frustrated or angry necessarily if you had any attachment to the bean. I personally didn't, so it didn't really affect me, but if you like the bean, or obviously in the cancer situation, I can understand a little bit more why you would be angry. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with being frustrated or angry, but what I am saying is it feels very disproportionate to other things that are going on. The fact that you're going on these loathsome rants, and we'll get into this, at these people who vandalized a couple things, instead of dealing with, I don't know, murderers, rapists, I don't know, that you're not, like, screaming at all this absurd stuff that's come out. And, yeah, it's just like, there's enough shit going on in the world. Why are you choosing this to be angry about? Like, I'm gonna be honest here, I wish I lived in a world where this was the biggest problem and that people complained about it because that was the worst thing that happened, or that was the worst thing that was in the news. But no, believe me, there is so much other things to be upset about. So, moving on from that, I do want to talk about the problem I have with some of these comments. So, I won't be reading names, obviously, but you can find them pretty easily on Twitter if you just look at the news stories. This was the CBS Chicago thing. I do wonder if a lot of these people were local to Chicago. So this is one of the most offensive comments. And when I say offensive, yeah, so I live in America. I'm talking about the U.S. This is obviously also in the U.S. and Chicago. And personally, Yeah, there will be opinions in this video, but I live in America, so the criminal justice system, while flawed for sure, definitely has some things in America that are good and that makes sense. Citizens are, have the right to a trial and all that stuff. Of course, there's times it doesn't work out well or messed up stuff, and I totally understand that. But in general, punishment is supposed to be humane. Execution is generally humane as it can be. I personally disagree with the death penalty entirely, but that's not the point of this video. Punishments are not like okay. And the most severe punishments, like death penalty, even life in prison, however long you're going to spend in prison, which I do think that our criminal justice system relies a little bit too heavily on prison, but again, that's not the point of this video. But the most serious punishments are generally only reserved for people who have killed someone, raped someone, stolen something really valuable, or like done like I understand that's like minor property damage, but like driving your truck into a warehouse or something. Like I'm saying there are levels of if you've done something really bad. I'm not an expert on the criminal justice system, but I'm pretty sure we don't beat people up or cut off limbs or do any of that stuff in execution in America. I'm pretty sure that's not a thing that happens anymore. Now, I'm not saying that, of course, there aren't crazy people and there aren't crazy situations, but yeah, pretty sure that's against the law. So this comment says, whoever it is, give them a public flogging like they do in Singapore, which is absolutely absurd to me because I don't know what they do it for in Singapore. I've never heard about Singapore's laws. I would imagine it's for something like murderers or rapists. I wouldn't imagine they do public floggings for vandals. If they do, then I mean, honestly, now that I think about it, because Singapore did outlaw chewing gum because it was making the streets dirty, so maybe they do, but regardless, and that's not okay, but regardless, that is not something that anyone should say, especially that we're in America, so it just feels very immature. Now the reply to this, so you want to whip a group of black peoples in public. That should go over well. And then the reply, how do you know the vandals are black, which is so true, because you're just assuming, I mean, it's probably part of a gang, like, based on the whole thing, but, like, okay, like, whatever. So, that doesn't necessarily mean they're black, even, yeah, okay. So, there's a lot of questionably racist things in these comments as well, but, again, cruel and unusual punishment that is not allowed by Constitution. So, this one, there's a couple slightly more reasonable comments. This person's just saying, you're an asshole if you put graffiti on a cancer memorial, which is kind of true, but again, I don't even know if they were thinking about it. Like, they were either stupid or inconsiderate. Definitely not, like, terrible as human beings who need to be murdered or beaten. Like, that's ridiculous. Now, the first comment here, it's the only way to set the bar for these thugs, beat the crap out of them. Again, I really don't think people should be beaten up, well, in general, for most crimes, but especially not for something like this. Like, I really don't, I'm generally against violence. I really don't think beating them up is going to solve anything. Like, if they're in gangs anyway, they're probably used to violence, so I don't think beating them up is going to accomplish anything. So again, some pretty mean-spirited comments. Ugly people are garbage, useless assholes, idiot gangsters, and what the hell is wrong with people? Alright, so those aren't too bad. But then this one, you should expect nothing less in a city run by Democrats. Things will only get worse. Okay, some of the poorest areas in the country are inner cities that are run by Democrats. Some of the poorest areas in the countries are middle-of-nowhere towns in the country run by Republicans. You will believe whichever side is worse, there's a bias, okay? Like, I'm not saying that Democrat-run cities aren't run down or don't have problems. I'm just saying that specifically because they're Democrats, I don't think that's the thing. I think there's other problems going on, and people are gonna shit-talk Democrats here. So this person just says, make them clean Michigan Avenue sidewalks with toothbrushes. This person says, so where are they? And why aren't scumbags like these found when they vandalize every other place in Chicago? My own L shop is always filthy with this garbage. I don't know what L shop means, but anyway, there is a point to that comment, that it seems kind of odd that, because it's like a landmark, or it's like the bean, it's like a tourist attraction, then, they get, like, caught right away. And, in other circumstances, it just seems kind of bizarre to me that would be the thing that would get you in trouble. So, and that, like, it's disproportionate. Like, we don't care if it's happening in another neighborhood. We only care if it's happening to tourist attractions that people actually care about. So, it is kind of disproportionate. So, this is, the most disgusting, comment here, which says someone should give them cancer. Now, as someone, I understand why, like, it's not completely random. I understand the logistics of this comment. Oh, they vandalized a cancer monument. We should give, like, I understand, but at the same time, I don't think anyone, okay, I have seen what cancer does to people. I don't think that anybody should have cancer. Like, I don't think anybody should wish cancer on anyone. I would not wish cancer on Adolf Hitler. I would not wish cancer on my worst enemy, let alone some vandals. Like, you're insane. Like, I'm sorry, but this is just full stop not okay. Wishing cancer on people is just not okay, and I just do not understand how this type of comment is okay. I just don't understand. So there's a couple more comments here. Every Democrat-run city is a run-down town. Ever notice? LA, SF, Portland, Seattle, Newark. Did you mean Newark or New York? I'm not sure what you meant there. Detroit. All places Dems have controlled forever. All perpetual third world cities. Wow. Also, those are very large cities. There are very good neighborhoods and very bad neighborhoods in cities. Like, that's how it works. Not every city is completely good or bad or whatever. Like, you understand that, right? Like, not every city is... Like, it's just so much. It's just so, it's utterly ridiculous. So, a couple others here. Looks like Hispanic gang sign crap also explains the homicide rate, ? Ethnic turf war, ? I wonder if they were Democrats or Republicans, ? 35th Street Avenue hoods. Well, they're not white supremacists. Who does this? Barbarians. Tigers among the lowest of our forms. Same butt sponge. #MAGA country. They should be easy to find after all they did leave their names on the wall. Period. Idiots. Trying to read the awful grammar aside. These comments are pretty, people are literally calling them, barbarians, lowest life forms. Like, it's very, harsh language to use for anyone, I would think. So, this is another comment which I think is really interesting. Why does that not look like English? Is this another terror attempt? I'm sorry. You're assuming that because it's probably a local gang. Like, you're assuming that they're trying to commit an act of terrorism. Okay. Yeah. And this person says these people are disgusting. Lock them up. What the hell is wrong with people? So yeah, more stuff like that. And let's see the photo of the guilty persons. Not only is Chicago a broke, liberal-run shithole, it's starting to look like one too. Animals. Drown them in the lake or throw them off the old Sears Tower. I don't care what the new tower name is, guys. I don't care if that was a joke. I'm hoping that was a joke, but no one, that should happen to literally no one. I don't care what your crime is. Don't throw them off a tower. What the fuck? Like, are you insane? I sincerely hope that was a joke, but even if it is, it's not funny. So stop. Okay. A couple more. Horrible act of vandalism, you misspelled. Give them 10 plus years easy. GJ, I don't know what TJ means. And then they should be in deep trouble, and why was their face covered? They really wanted to expose these people for some reason. I don't think it's that big of a deal. Like, I understand, again, you're only making it a big deal because it was a landmark that is a piece, it's a piece of artwork. I mean, can you, anyway, guys, So, yeah, just please be kind online or in real life. Just please be kind. I'm sorry, just, yeah.